Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this quick conversation regarding some reality TV mess about Kim Zolciak and Kroy Biermann. So, Kim Zolciak and Kroy Biermann, as we've all heard lately, they have filed for divorce. Now, before we get too deep into that, I just wanted to mention real quick that Kim Zolciak's ex-husband, he went by the last name, I don't know how to pronounce it, it's Toce, Tochi, I'm not really sure. The father of her two older daughters. Back in 2010, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison for assaulting his 15-year-old stepdaughter at the time. He served 10 years. He didn't serve the full 10 years, but he did some time in prison, and then he did some time. Then they suspended the rest of his time. He served it outside under parole, and he has to register as an offender for the rest of his life. So it was some pretty serious charges. I'm surprised that they let him out early because I don't think he served the full 10 years behind bars, but he was sentenced to 10 years for assaulting his stepdaughter, being inappropriate with his stepdaughter. So this can sort of like add some context in why this person has never been seen on any of these reality TV shows that Kim and her daughters have been on. He's not really mentioned, and why it was so easy to have Kroy Biermann adopt her two daughters because their biological father is a serious offender. Moving on from that. So as we've all heard, Kim Zolciak and Kroy Biermann, both of them have filed for divorce. The reason for their marriage ending, from what I've been reading from TMZ, from Mail Online, all the blogs, People Magazine, all the blogs, the reason why their marriage is ending has a lot to do with financial problems. And it seems like their problem was living above their means. Not enough money was coming in to sustain the lifestyle that they wanted to present to the world. And we know that Kim Zolciak was working hard, working overtime, triple time, double time, trying to show the world that her and her family were living large. But in reality, they could not afford to live the way that she presented. So one of their issues is unpaid taxes. They owe $1.1 million in unpaid taxes because they did not report, or they did not pay their taxes for the years 2013, 2017, and 2018. This is their federal taxes. They also did not pay their state taxes for 2018. Now, let's talk about that real quick. I'm a regular schmegular person, regular paycheck, regular everything, right? I don't understand, with my regular schmegular income, how in the world people do not pay their taxes when they know how fierce and how heavy-handed the IRS is. How do you get away? How do you think that you can earn an income and not report that to the federal government at the time that you're supposed to report it? I don't understand. And the funny thing is that these people can afford someone to do all of this for them. They don't even have to do it themselves. They don't have to rely on no damn TurboTax or make an appointment with Jackson Hewitt or H&R Block. They can do this. They can pay someone to do this for them. As long as the person that you hire is on the up and up and they're not trying to cheat you or scam you, you can pay someone to do just like, here's all my documents, take care of it, have at it, just show me proof that it was done. So in case anybody starts calling or the IRS wants to make a visit, I've got something to show them. Why do you not pay your is it like, do they forget? I know they don't forget. What is it? Do they feel like, oh, we owe so much in taxes this year? Well, we really can't afford it. Let's just put it to the side and pay it next year. Is that what it is? And then just builds up and it builds up? Or do they just are like, you know what? We're not going to do our taxes this year. We're just not going to do them. We're not going to do them. I don't understand. And because, Kim and Kroy, they're not W-2s. Okay. They're not W-2 employees. They are, business owners, sole proprietors, or whatever you want to call them. They have to pay their own taxes. You have to do this at some point. Why do you not pay them? Or is it that they paid a portion, but it couldn't pay all of it? And so the balance due was just building up. Because once people reach a certain tax bracket and you report the income that you've made and they tell you the taxes that you owe on that income, Is it like, oh my God, we can't afford to pay this in one lump sum. We'll do this on a monthly payment plan and then it's just never paid off? I don't understand why people want to play games with the IRS. The IRS is not forgiving. They're not kind. They will lock you up. They will lock you up. There have been plenty of rich, wealthy, well-known celebrities who've ended up on the wrong side of jail because they don't pay their taxes. I don't get it. I'm just like flabbergasted by that. Out of all the things, you're not paying your taxes. So Kim kept her divorce filing a secret, and supposedly Kroy and her oldest children were completely blindsided by her filing for divorce. Now, the funny thing about her keeping the divorce a secret is that last year when she was being interviewed, I think it was by people.com, and she was being interviewed on how she's been able to sustain such a long-lasting marriage. Nowadays, a decade is considered long-lasting. They asked her, well, how do you and Kroy, how is it that y'all been able to stay together for so long? She said communication. Out of one of the things is communication. That's what helps a marriage survive. But then she fails to tell her husband that she has filed for divorce because supposedly he was blindsided. One of the oldest daughters that Kroy adopted was really devastated. I think it was Ariana, was really devastated when she found out that her mom had filed for divorce, because it looks like, from what we see in pictures and from what we've seen on the shows that she's been on, her kids, her oldest daughters, are very close to Kroy. They see him as their father and he's very close to them. So the girls were really devastated. I know that the little ones, if they understand what's going on, are also just as devastated. So when she filed for divorce, a couple of days later, he went and he filed for divorce. They're both fighting for sole custody of the children. Kroy wants sole legal and physical custody of the children. Kim wants sole physical custody, but wants him to have visitation. The fact that it's mentioned that Kroy did not ask for Kim to have visitation in his divorce petition is very telling. It's very, very telling. Now, we know there's been a lot of controversial issues surrounding Kim and how she is as a mother. For example, she had given a gun to her oldest daughter. I think it was her oldest daughter. When she moved out to start living on her own, she had given her a thing of protection to protect her safety. And she showed that on one of her social media posts. We all know about the whole Chrissy Teigen incident, Chrissy Teigen John Legend incident, where she had posted a picture of herself and her daughter giving duck lips to the camera, and the caption was, I don't even know how to say it because it's quite, or the caption of it, what act does her daughter have to perform on John Legend to get concert tickets? And when she got, dragged for that, for being highly inappropriate and sexualizing her daughter, Kim Zolciak just kind of blew it off like, oh, it's no big deal. Okay, so maybe that's got something to do with Kroy not asking for, or not requesting for Kim to have visitation. He wants sole physical and legal custody of the children. Kroy has asked Kim to move out immediately because even though they've both filed for divorce, they are still living together in the same home. But then I read another article that said that Kroy has not been living in the family home for months. But Kroy is supposedly living in the home with Kim, and that Kroy also wants to have ownership of the home. He's also asking for full ownership of the home. So they owe $1 million in taxes. They bought their home for $880,000 in 2000 whatever. The house now is worth $2.5 million. So to me, it would make sense to sell the home and pay your taxes. And then whatever's left over, split that to start, to put a down payment or to buy a home with the money left over. I don't know. I don't understand why they haven't. Maybe, the divorces was just filed. So there's a lot that's going to be happening in the coming months, the coming weeks, etc. So eventually maybe the court will order them to sell their home and then use the proceeds, if it's enough, to pay the taxes, because you don't want to mess with the IRS. What is going on with these people? So there were rumors swirling that the house was going to be auctioned off in March. Well, March has come and went, and the family is still in the home. They're still in that home. So I don't know if it's still going to be auctioned off because they fell behind on their mortgage as well. They fell behind on their mortgages as well. So the question is, what happened to the money? What happened to the money that they made on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, that she made on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, the money that they both made on Don't Be Tardy to the Party, and the money that he made in his NFL career? What happened to all of that money? This is proof of people who, no matter how much money they earn, how much money they have, they're always going to be broke because they don't have any money management skills, which is funny because you can pay people to do that for you. If you feel like I'm not really good with money, you can pay people to do that for you. As long as, you hire people that are not going to try to scam you and steal from you. People talk about how Kroy, didn't work, didn't keep a steady job, that he depended on Kim because Kim was the one that was, really pushing for these reality TV shows and all this and that. I don't know. Because if they were both featured on their own reality TV show, he's working just as much as she is. He was her manager. He was her assistant. I don't know. But okay, my thing is this. Why didn't Kroy, being a former NFL football player, why didn't he get a job in the NFL? First of all, you're married to a reality TV personality. Okay, so that gives you automatically some type of notoriety. And you played football for X amount of years, so you know the game, you know the sport. Why weren't you a coach, assistant coach, a coach for high school, for college, a commentator for the NFL? A podcaster or a show on television talking about football? Why weren't you doing anything like that? Something that you know so well, that is so easy for you to talk about. You could have been making money that I don't understand. So what happened to his NFL money, retirement money, the money that he earned as a player? What happened to the reality TV show money? Were these people really going through their money like that? It is really, really, really scary that they had all these kids and were just running through their money like that. So who's going to pay for the kids' colleges? Like, what's going on with that? What are y'all going to do about that? There's a lot of questions here and very little answers. Was I surprised to hear about Kim getting a divorce from Kroy? I was. I really was, because I thought they were going to be married forever. Because I was like, man, if he can put up with her for 5 minutes, then this is the man for her. This is the man for her. At first, I thought it was kind of like a mismatch because he seemed a little bit more down to earth. And she's, she tries to be extremely Hollywood. She tries to be extremely over the top, with her plastic surgeries and her wanting to present a certain kind of lifestyle, dating Big Papa just for the money because he was taking care of her financially. Yeah, I was like, what is going on here? What does he really see in her? But I felt like, look, if someone like Kroy could tolerate someone like Kim for 5 minutes, then this is the man for her. And this is probably the only man for her, because I think Kim Zolciak is a handful. But yeah, all good things come to an end, right? So they have a lot of children. They have 6, the 2 adult girls who, even though they are legally adults, I'm pretty sure they depended very heavily on their parents financially. So you have the 2 older children. You have the 4 small children. All these kids, the 4 kids are like stepladder kids, right? Is it stepladder or one after the other? Like she was just spitting them out one after the other. She had 1, 2, and then twins. All of these kids are around the same age, which means that all of these kids are going to be going to college at around the same time if they choose to go down that path. Y'all need to figure this out and figure it out very, very quickly, because the years are going to fly by, and before you know, you're going to have 4 kids in college. So you need to figure this out very, very quickly. How do you not pay your taxes? I need to know, for all the people out there who don't pay their taxes, what is the thought process? And okay, it's tax season. You're seeing all the commercials coming up for all these tax services, TurboTax and all these other tax services. Everybody's talking about their taxes. What is your thought process when you've made up your mind, I'm not going to file this year. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to pay it. Is that what it is? Or is there something else going on? Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate it on your way out. Don't forget to rate the video. I always forget. Don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.